I recognize the member from Morrison, Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I rise for a motion of sine die, and I have some comments.
Representative Kresha.
Thank you. Members, I have a motion in front of you for sine die. The Minnesota budget is facing a structural imbalance. We need to be open to new solutions. However, I am disappointed with the governor's educational budget proposal. He proposes another $50 million cut to the existing $250 million special education cut that's already on the table. Currently, we have Representative Igo's bill moving through for constitutional amendment for trust lands. And another option that's on the table is the governor could opt into the federal tax credit, which would allow taxpayers to put $1,700 of their taxpayer dollars into an SGO that could then go to public as well as non-public qualifying organizations. This would help leverage the educational generosity and send dollars to our schools in a time when we're looking for solutions. The governor's response yesterday, and I quote, "Well, then they can just go home. They can shut the whole session down. That is never going to happen." And further quote, he said, "I have never said it about anything more forcefully." Members, Governor Walz plays empty threats like I play bridge, poorly. Remember, he threatened the special session on school safety, no session, no bills. He won't allow a federal tax cut, or a federal tax credit that other states have already opted in to help our schools. Instead, he proposes more cuts to special education. So members, and I say this in all sincerity and authenticity, I did not tell anybody this was coming up. After the governor's comments, I decided I'll agree with you, Governor Walz. So members, if I am the only one standing in the way from this governor cutting another $50 million in special education, then so be it. It is time to go home, Governor, and you can call us back for special session when you're reasonable and ready to come to the table. I won't hold my breath. Members, I have a motion for sine die.
Discussion to the motion. I recognize a member from Anoka, Representative Niskala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I request a roll call.
A roll call has been requested. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Niskala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Representative Kresha's motion raises an important question. We've seen a pattern over and over from Democrats this session. Democrats have to oppose anything tied to Donald Trump, no matter what. And if that's the pattern, what are we even doing here? We have common sense policies in front of us. No taxes on tips or overtime, and a scholarship tax credit that sends real dollars to Minnesota students, private and public, and doesn't cost the state a dime. Policies that shouldn't be controversial. But the governor and Minnesota Democrats are opposed to them just because Donald Trump is for them. Members, that's not governing. And if all Minnesota is going to get is Democrats harming Minnesotans to stick it to Donald Trump, then let's just get out of here, Governor. When you're serious about governing, we can come back in a special session. But if you just want to stick it to Minnesotans, to stick it to Donald Trump, then we shouldn't be here. And it's not just here in Minnesota. The leading Democrat candidate for governor is in Washington, D.C., voting over and over again to shut down the government, to harm Minnesotans, forcing Americans to wait in security lines, shutting down SNAP, just to stick it to Donald Trump. So I hope Minnesotans are paying attention. I hope Minnesotans heard you, Governor. They understand what you're up to. They see what Minnesota Democrats are up to. At some point, this stops being about Trump and starts being about harming Minnesotans. Governor Walz, as you said, we can just go home now. We can shut the whole session down. We'll wait for you to get serious about governing. You can call us back into a special session. Members, vote yes.
Further discussion to the motion. I recognize a member from Ramsey, Representative Kern.
Thank you so much, Speaker. And Chair Kreshaw, while I may agree with some of the sentiments that you offered to the body today, I just think it's really important that we acknowledge that words from one person in another branch of government do not and should not hold the weight of 134 of us in this room in an entire other body of government. And so while I do share a lot of the concerns that you have offered the body today, I would disagree that we should take anyone up on my way or the highway. I think that we have enough collective power in this room to move forward with the important work before us that our constituents expect. And that includes work this session that we can do without having budget bills. I know it's not a budget year, but we can pass good policy on combating fraud in the state of Minnesota. And we cannot just walk away from that problem today. So I would urge everyone to vote against this motion. Our work here is not done, and we are not going to allow any other branch of government to tell us that we're done. Thank you.
I recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Long.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As tempting as it might be to agree to this motion, and as frustrating as it might be to work in a divided legislature and a divided government, we still have incredibly important work to do for Minnesota in this session, and we haven't given up hope that we can find bipartisan agreement to do that work. We have heard loud and clear from Minnesotans, including the families at Annunciation, that we must take action on gun violence prevention this session. We haven't given up hope that we can do that. We have heard loud and clear from Minnesotans about the affordability crisis that they are facing. We have proposals on our side of the aisle on health care, child care, housing that we are hoping we can find agreement to move forward to reduce costs for Minnesotans. We have proposals to try to deal with the issues of ICE unaccountability and harm that has been done to Minnesotans, and we have brought those up repeatedly. They have been rejected so far, but we are hopeful that we can find a path forward on them. And we have over a dozen proposals that we have put forward to try to combat fraud, which is taking away the dollars that should be going to Minnesotans who deserve those. It's time for Republicans to get serious about fraud and work with us on those bills so that we can move those forward. And if you adjourn sine die, we can't continue that work. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Kresha, to your motion.
Madam Chair, I renew my motion. I guess if we want to stick around and do more harm, then vote no. If you want to wait for the governor to actually come back to the table with a reasonable offer, vote yes.
The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will call the names of the members participating remotely. And members, remember to take your conversations to the alcoves or the retiring room. The clerk will call the names.
Green.
Green, no.
Green votes no. Jones.
Jones, no.
Jones votes no. Rarick.
Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 58 ayes and 72 nays, the motion does not prevail.